think I've seen a team more focused on winning as a group than this Alabama team for Nick Saban.
We continue live here in Glendale, Arizona, University of Phoenix Stadium, where tonight Alabama has won the national championship. I can't think that Nick Saban's too thrilled to have to talk to me again, but it does mean that you won, because we wouldn't have been bugging you if it didn't go the right way. You want a chair? We got a chair for you, Coach, if you'd like one.
Great.
Please have a seat.
You know, I'm glad to talk to you.
I'm just teasing.
Because I wouldn't be talking to you if we didn't win.
Understood. Obviously, everybody's asking about that onside kick, and I'm curious. I heard in the presser where you said you felt like you had it tonight. Was that something that was strictly tonight, or something that you'd noticed a tendency leading into tonight?
Well, we always have fakes in every part of the kicking game. But sometimes the other team doesn't line up like you expect them. So you design the fake to work against what you've seen in the past. Then when the game starts, you look and say, they are lining up like we anticipated. So we have that fake or that onside kick if we need it. And that's basically what happened in the game tonight. And look, the reason that we did it was because the score was 21-21. We weren't stopping them very well on defense. And, you know, Deshaun Watson is a fantastic player, but he was doing a great job against us. Our front guys, we couldn't pressure them like we wanted to. We couldn't cover them in the back end like we wanted to. He was extending plays and making big plays. So I thought we needed to do something to change the momentum of the game. And I felt if we didn't get ahead in the game at some point in time, that we couldn't just trade serves with them.
But what you make the call, and now you have to see, does it work? And what are those moments like as you wait to see if it'll be executed the way you hope it will?
Well, they did a great job. It was a great kick by Griff, and, you know, Marlon did a great job of catching the ball and got it right over the guy's head where he didn't have a chance to field it. Barely went 10 yards, so it was great execution.
And you can see down here we've got this was you when it worked. It was obviously Twitter was enjoying the fact that there was a big smile on your face because you had the guts to call it, and then your guys had the ability to pull it off. You mentioned Deshaun. When you're game planning for this guy, you're hoping not to see what he did. He threw for over 400. It's rare to see someone play that well against a defense like yours. How would you frame it compared to some of the performances that you've seen in the past?
Well, I said before we ever went into this game that this guy, in my opinion, is the most dynamic quarterback since we played against Cam Newton in 2010, and he certainly didn't disappoint. The yards doesn't really make that big a deal because sometimes it's the way the game is, and when they got behind, they were throwing every down, and we were kind of playing prevent, so they probably got 100 yards at the end of the game that they may or may not have gotten. But, you know, we did the things that we needed to do to be able to win the game, and even though they scored with 12 seconds to go, that pretty much is what we needed to do to be able to win the game because we're up by 2 scores.
I know that you watch the golf that we do and others do, and so this is an analogy that involves Tiger, who for years won so many majors that perhaps it seemed it would get old hat, but what he would say, each one was different because it required different things. This seemed to require everything that you all had as a team, and given that, how does this make this particular title that you've won significant?
Well, I would say that this was the most difficult game that we had to win a championship.
Seemed like it.
No question about it. And you know, special teams was huge. Some of the big plays we made on offense were huge. And the defensive players, although we didn't play to our standard, certainly made plays when they needed to make them in the game. I thought Eddie's interception was huge early in the game because they were starting to roll. But, you know, I told the players before we ever got into this, you know, when you play against a quarterback like this, and they're going to go fastball, and they're going to play over 80 plays in a game. You big guys either have to have hard practice, easy game, easy practice, hard game. Because if you don't really stress yourself every pass rush and run to the ball every time, you're going to get tired in the game. And we got tired in the second quarter of the game, and that made a big difference in terms of the way we played defense, and it was because of his athleticism and chasing them around.
You talked with such warmth of this team when we visited after the win in Texas, and then tonight. Is it Nick, that they grew so much? Did you get the sense that maybe from where they started to where they ended, this was a bigger difference than some of your other title teams?
I don't think there's any question about it.
Yeah.
You know, there were not very many people in August that thought we would ever make it here. There was absolutely nobody that thought that after we lost to Ole Miss. I mean, I hear all these reruns of what you all said.
I didn't say that.
No,
you can't prove that.
You know, it's that, you know, we're dead, you know.
Not me.
We got all these problems. Can't cover anybody, can't rush anybody, can't play defense anymore, don't have a quarterback. So
wasn't like you fell out of the top 25 or anything. I mean, people still knew you could play, Nick. I mean, let's not just invent stuff sitting here.
But and look, I think all those things helped us. Because the players responded to the criticism the way you'd like for them to.
Right.
And they made a lot of progress because of it. So their pride was hurt a little bit, and they responded the right way and overcame a lot of adversity and grew a tremendous amount as a team. And, you know, this team is very together as a group. They really like each other. So that's the other thing that it makes it fun to coach is you don't have a lot of problems. Everybody's buying in, doing the right thing, and they like each other. They enjoy being around each other.
I know that this is not your most favorite thing to do, but on a night when you win yet another title, we've got some moments from the titles that you've won, and I just wonder what you might think as you look back to these moments, some of the common threads there in Tuscaloosa. And this one...
Well, we had a bunch of them here tonight. Marcel Darius was here tonight.
I saw he had a captain's hat on.
Yeah,
that was fancy.
Here.
Yeah.
But we probably had as many players as anybody. Mark Ingram was here tonight.
People commented about seeing him standing next to Henry. It's amazing how big Henry is. But this is the one against LSU, the rematch down there in Louisiana.
Well, that was a great defensive effort. But,
yeah, they didn't get across midfield for basically most of the night.
Yeah, we had some really good players, and they really played well. But, you know, we had lost to LSU earlier, so they were a little bit hungry in that game. And so that was a fun group.
I was on the field for the first drive down in Miami, and it seemed evident from the very first drive that your guys were just going to dominate, and they did. Was it satisfying to dominate that one?
Well, you know, we thought Notre Dame had a really good team. Our players just, you know, offensively, we just really played well. A.J. played well. You know, we did a good job defensively. Eddie Lacy had a fantastic game,
and then this is the most recent tonight that required that they'll talk about forever. And then again, it's because it's 24 all, and then you go up top. And OJ, people have been waiting a long time for this. You tricked us all. You kept him in the back pocket until you needed him tonight. He obviously played great.
He did play great tonight, but he played really well in last week's game and made some big plays. And it was bad coaching on my part not to get him more involved in the offense earlier on. Because he's a very capable guy, and he can make big plays, which we've seen the last 2 weeks.
I'll ask you the same thing I asked you the last time I saw you, which was now there's not another game, and Ms. Terry, I guess, will determine how much time we get to enjoy this, but there's recruiting, there's signing day that's right around the corner, so you give yourself how much sort of a leeway here to feel good about this and satisfied?
Well, we're allowed to go back recruiting on Thursday, so we have to go back on Thursday. Our school starts on Wednesday, so we got to get our players back, you know, academically doing what they're supposed to do. So we'll travel home tomorrow, and I guess that's our day off.
This was a hell of a football game to watch. Are there moments in it when you can allow yourself not to be a fan? I don't mean that, but just to realize what's going on, because it was like heavyweights swinging at each other from their heels.
Well, there was a couple times in the game where I wasn't feeling so great about how things were going, and I said to myself, I bet you there's a lot of people out there really enjoying this game. Because it was a heck of a game. It was sensational. So too is your team. Congratulations on this. And again, I can't thank you enough for being so gracious with your time afterwards, Nick. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, man. Nick Saban, once again, a national champion. Let's get it back.